What's up, everybody? It's Johnny Bronto here with HauntScene, and welcome to the show. Now, this is going to be a special pop-up here. If people want to come and ask questions, cool. If not, I've got a couple questions from the crew ready to go, and then I've got some people posting questions and things like that, so we're going to go over that stuff. So this does count as a stream, so I do want to give a shout out here to our sponsors real quick. Thank you to Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. Just had an awesome show with them this last week here. Woods of Terror. We've got Eddie McLaurin from Woods of Terror on the show on Monday, and we'll actually be there next weekend. I'm really excited about that trip. Dr. Grimley's Haunted Trail, going to have them on the show here in a couple weeks in Umatilla, Florida. And the Halloween Shirt Company, thank you so much. Use promo code HauntScene for 15% off. All right. So let's do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off with a little bit of a retrospective. Now, I started HauntScene 10 years ago today. So that's pretty crazy. I've been doing this literally a decade of my life, and I am 8 years old. So this is a big chunk of my life that I've been doing here. So yeah. Let's take a look back. I just want to point out a couple things. I'm just going to go year by year and just see if some things kind of jump out at me right here. So I've got our website pulled up. So what I'm going to do here is switch over to that. There we go. And let's just take a look here. So I've got the Facebook page pulled up. I've got it pulled up live. So yeah, so we started this thing 10 years ago. Myself and one of my friends, Courtney Peters, started up. She was only with the show for the first season, and then I remember that getting the name of HauntScene was probably the most difficult thing, because we went back and forth for like an entire summer and about what the show should be called, and yeah, so we came up with the name HauntScene. And it's been HauntScene ever since. So what I'm going to do here is I've got the page pulled up, and I'm just going to go year by year here, and I'll just type in search, and let's just do this. So HauntScene 2015. All right, so let's see what we got here. HauntScene Radio. Okay, so we wanted like the name of the show, so kind of like we have HauntScene Live now, where we do our live show. The first version of that was called like HauntScene Radio. So that was kind of cool here. I don't know if this one's gonna pull up here. Let me see if it actually pulls up. So one thing about, oh my God, this is so bad. So one of the things that was really interesting about the first season, I didn't know how to stream at all. I didn't know. I mean, obviously we still get technical gremlins and stuff like that, but like I was teaching myself social media and teaching myself streaming the whole time. And one of my things that I did every episode here, so I think we only went to like 10 haunts in our first year in Florida. Was I designed a new layout for every single episode here. Now, the first and second season are not available on YouTube. I made the decision a couple years ago to take those episodes and make them unlisted. So for a couple reasons, I didn't want people to come across the show like that and have that be a reflection on how the show is now, because we've grown leaps and bounds here. But when we were going in here, just to kind of take a look at some graphics here, there's Courtney and I. Look at me with my without the beard, and I'm so mad, and my Blue Yeti, which I still have actually right here. This microphone. So I started off with this. I was such a big deal to get a microphone and a pop filter and like a little thing right there. So I still got that piece of equipment right there. Love that. And yeah, as a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll use that to pull the stream up here so I can keep an eye on the comments. If you have any comments during the show, feel free to put them in here. Even if you don't watch the show live, feel free to leave a comment. And if I get a chance to ask it, awesome, cool. If not, that's fine too. But let me pull this up real quick. But let me know who you are, all the things, where you're watching from, all the things there. But man, this is such a shock here. So It was a learning experience the first year, just doing things in Florida here. Courtney, love Courtney to death. Courtney and I had very different perspectives on how the show should be run. She was all about branding and things like that, and like she was very particular about how we reach out to haunts and all that stuff here. And I was just like, let's just get out there and do the things. So, but yeah, so but I used a program called XSplit, which is a paid program. I now use OBS for my stream, but yeah, that's a thing. So I literally created a new outlay overlay for every single show. So that was very time consuming. But you know what? I gotta admit, from starting from scratch here, not too bad. Our first episode ever, we had a weird echo because I really didn't understand how sound worked in the stream, which is hilarious because we just had a sound issue in the last episode here. Look, I'm a human being and this is a human being driven show. Things are going to go wrong and things are going to go right. So I do my best with that there, but that was cool. So that was going to be that. Let me back off of that a little bit and let's see what else we got here. So and then a couple of years in, well, at the end of the first season, we literally just did like stuff here in Central Florida. Didn't really wander out too far, but after when we were wrapping up the first season, getting into the second season, I wanted to keep going. Courtney made the decision that she didn't want to continue with it, and so yeah. So that was season one. I mean, it was cool. Season one, we didn't really get any hookups. I mean, the thing is about HauntScene, when we started, we bought everything. Like we bought tickets to everything. And I remember Courtney had to take a bus back to Orlando every week, and I would pick her up, and we would do HHN and all this stuff here, but it was really expensive. But this is how we kind of got to know people. And Eric from Ominous Ascent, we actually met him through the Shallow Grave. He gave us our first ever upgrade. He bumped us up from the normal line to the express line, and that was so cool. And he was actually one of the first people that like discovered us and like legitimized us, I guess. We didn't know what we were doing at all, but we did a really good job. I think we did a really good job for starting from scratch and just having a very loose skeleton vision of the show. I think we did a really, really good job. Awesome. So that was season one. Pretty cool. Let me see if there's anything else on here that I want. We got the website. I started a Central Florida Haunt Directory. That was a couple years later here. But yeah, HauntScene Radio, man. Wow. That's kind of cool. I guess you could go and watch that. If you go back into HauntScene and you search for HauntScene 2015, you can link out to that stuff there, but I don't put it out there on YouTube. All right. Hey, just started watching the channel since live with APF. Sister told me to check it out, and you guys are real and fun and listen. You guys are real and fun to listen and watch. Look forward to more. Oh, thank you, Tara Lee. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's the one thing about this show is we don't take this too seriously. We're human beings, and we're really focused on the connection with the haunt industry and the people behind the scenes with that. So thank you for saying that. That's awesome. Pretty cool right there. All right, so that's going to be season one. Now, season two, I'm just going to go real quick, and then I'll probably go through a couple seasons and maybe answer a couple questions here. So season two, let me see if there's anything that comes up here with this one. HauntScene, we went through so many different logo changes and stuff. One of the things about Courtney, she left me with the idea that like we really need branding. So now we've got the really cool icon hoodie and the branding and all that stuff there. So I guess you can see the original version of the ghost here. This is like the primitive version of Buki right there. And yeah. So old. I have that shirt somewhere. I was looking for that shirt. I should have worn it here. But yeah, so the second season rolled around and we kept going. Well, I wouldn't say we. After Courtney left the show, she actually left the show like 2 weeks before what would have been the start of season number 2. And then Ashley or Kira Rianne, if you follow her on Instagram, I basically just needed like a warm body to be a co-host. But I almost quit. I literally almost quit after the first season because I had so many. I'm like, I want to do this again. I want to do this again. And I everything was kind of like, she quit and I'm like, I don't know, man. And everything kind of came together. Like I literally had a post drafted. I'm like, hey everybody, thank you for watching the show. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. And this would have been really bad if imagine all the stuff I wouldn't have gotten a chance to do over the last 9 years had I not kept it going there. So but I actually had a post drafted and Eric once again talked to me. He's like, "Yeah, man, just keep going." He's like, "Even if it's just you, just keep going." And I did. I found a co-host just for season two, and then like we got like a theme song from my buddy Keegan Grimm, or he got that there, and then I got a little bit better at streaming. But we probably didn't grow too much in the first and second season because we were still kind of finding our footing, and then we kind of got through it, and I became a little more. I try to make the show as good looking as possible. If you probably noticed, I'm a little OCD about the graphics and everything. Spent a lot of money on cameras and all that stuff there, but I got to kind of learn as I went here, and some of the things I learned are like, don't have people eat on camera or whatever. And like I wanted to kind of take this seriously. So I learned a lot of lessons in the first and second season about it was like the training wheels. That's what the first and second season was. It was like the training wheels. So we did a couple more haunts, I think. I think we bumped up our number a little bit to like 10 or 15 or something like that. Just getting out there and doing all the things. And we did a lot of haunted attractions and experiences that don't exist anymore, that are completely forgotten. If you look at the HauntScene haunt directory, we have like a memorial of some haunts that aren't open anymore. But season two was fun. It was a little chaotic, but it was fun. Now, uh, during season one or two of that time period, that's actually when I met Melissa, and I met Melissa at Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando at Universal. And the first night I met Melissa, she just had this like crazy frenetic energy that really attracted to me her as a friend. And she I actually ended up asking her to be my co-host after season two, and I think it took her a moment to think about it. But then that's really the formative years of the show. I mean, after Melissa joined the show, I mean, things just completely changed. I think probably the most important event in the history of Haunt Scene, other than the creation of it, was Melissa Lukac joining the show. And I could not do this without her. I know that she's at Universal today at Epic. She's doing some birthday stuff, um, but yeah, it was it. And we finally had a good mix. We had a good energy back and forth. And Melissa, she was so shy. Like she's really good on camera now, but like it took a moment. I'm a public speaker. I'm a teacher. I've always been doing that, but she took a moment to kind of warm up to that. But then we started to get like ambitious, So we started to want to get a little bit more. So instead of just doing Central Florida, we started looking for other things in North Florida, South Florida, and then we started going out of state and all that stuff right there. All right. Let's see. Do I have any experience with being a scare actor or work in the environment before wanting to start haunting? Actually, no. I had no haunted attraction experience. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I always knew that there were haunted houses out there. I'm sure I did some local things. I remember doing a local hayride. I remember doing a local like a truck trailer thing. I remember Erebus in Pontiac, Michigan being there. It was a big deal. It was like an urban myth there. RIP Ed Terabas. We really liked him. We actually didn't get to do that until a couple years into Haunt Scene. But yeah. So yeah, no, I was a Horror Nights nerd. I mean, I'm a self-confessed Horror Nights nerd. I started going to Horror Nights in 2008 in the Bloody Mary year, and I just something awakened in me. And it was 7 years later that we were doing the show. So it was like a gateway drug. And I think my first independent haunt that I found out about was the Shallow Grave, which used to be in Winter Haven or Auburndale, Winter Haven, one of those areas. And it was Winter Haven, yeah. And it was just such a aggressive, amazing haunt in Florida that it just really, really opened my eyes. And I was like, "There's more of these things out there." And then we started actively looking for these things here. Yeah. I've done a little bit of scare acting. I don't have the attention span for it. You are all the rock stars, all the characters that are out there. I don't have it. I just appreciate every aspect of the haunt industry there. Do I have any scare moments that really stand out for me over the years? Yeah, actually, and we were talking about this in the team chat earlier. A couple years ago, we did a New Orleans trip. This was like the COVID year. It was 2020, yeah, 2020, 2021, and we ended up doing like Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and we were at the 13th gate in Louisiana, and there was this train scare. Like this, we are going through the haunt, and a guy comes and he like stops us. We didn't really know. I thought it was part. I didn't know if it was part of the show or not. But a guy kind of steps out, like, "Hey, we're not gonna go into this scene. Step over into this hallway or whatever." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever. Operation, whatever." We step out into the hallway, and all of a sudden, like these train lights, like these train, like a train was coming at you behind me, and my soul just about jumped out of my body. I think in the entire time I've been doing haunt scene, that was probably the only time I ran. I literally ran. Like I've never my body ran. My body ran before my brain could really comprehend what was going on. And yeah, so every once in a while you'll be in a haunt and you'll see like the car like come out at you and stop right before you, whatever, and beep their horn. This was like a whole ass train, man. That was brutal. Yep. Tricky with the little ones, finding someone to watch her. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is I've had a dog. As a matter of fact, I've only ever done haunt scene 1 year without a dog. Unfortunately, and this getting a little personal, but about a week from now, 5 years ago, my Shih Tzu Cody passed away, and that was the only year that I didn't have like a dog at home to take care of. Well, now I have Oogie. Now that particular year, I did like 47 haunts. I didn't want to be home. I just wanted to throw myself into the haunt industry. But doing 47 haunted attractions in the span of like 60 days was it was a little much. So we went a little crazy that year. Yep. All right. So yeah, so that was the so Melissa joined the show. And at this point it was like branding and getting shirts made and stuff like that, and business cards and things like that. Well, actually we had ordered business cards like the first year. I'll never forget it because like when we ordered our business cards there was a misspelling in the name, and Courtney freaked out. So yeah. So well, okay. So one of the things about haunted attractions, and this is the question that I will give you a diplomatic answer. I get this question all the time. Like, out of all the 137 whatever haunts we've been to 27 states. Um, what is my favorite? Uh, I mean, it's a hard question to ask. It's a hard question to answer because I love so many things about so many different haunts. It's hard to just pick one. Um, and one of the things that happened in the third year is uh, there was there was like a some in the third or fourth year there were a couple haunts here in Central Florida that were really talking a lot of smack about each other. It's all kind of smoothed over now, but because we were trying to be friends with everybody, we were like Switzerland, right? But we ended up in the crossfire of a lot of that. And I guess up until the first years, a couple years, I would consider ourselves just like a reviewer, I guess. But that was really formative for us because we decided that we were going to take the word review out of our vernacular, like our vocabulary. We're not reviewers. Reviewers are saying this has a certain score or and when you say this has a certain score or this is your favorite, you're saying that one thing is better than another. Um, I don't do that. I don't do that because I love all the haunts. I love everything from the home haunts to the community haunts to the big box haunts to the mid-level haunts to the theme park haunts. I love everything. You'll probably hear me say this a lot. I don't put one haunt over another. I never have. But that experience, and like I said, it's all smoothed over now. Everybody gets along, I guess. But yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be put in a position where I have to choose. Now, that being said, we do have very close connections to particular haunts. Um, I like to the way I look at haunt scene and how we grow is I look at it as like extending our family, our haunt scene family. Well, every once in a while, I feel like we become a member or an extended member of another haunted attraction. And there are a couple haunts that we're very close with. One being Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. We absolutely love them. I mean, if you ask me usually what my favorite night of the year is, we always make a trip down to South Florida to do Fright Nights in West Palm Beach, and that is usually my favorite night of the year. It is such a big deal for us to go down and see everybody down there. We love them. We have a lot of friends there, and they support us and they sponsor us and everything. And it's really cool. It's very organic. We have really good relationships with pretty much every haunted attraction in Florida, but that's probably the one of the ones that we're closest to, right? Please don't take that the wrong way. I'm not saying it's, we love Fright Nights. It's an amazing haunt, but that's a very long way of saying I'm sure if you ask me what my I could give you top 10, I guess. I'm not gonna do it here, but like that's kind of how I look at everything right there. I always mention wanting a haunt with an alien theme. It kind of started as a joke. I've done a couple haunted attractions that were sci-fi based. One of my favorite ones, what was it called? It was called Interstellar Terror at Halloween Horror Nights, and it was basically like Event Horizon. If you've ever seen that sci-fi horror movie in space, it was like their generic version of that, and it was so good. But I love the idea of alien invasion stuff, and we don't have enough representation for science fiction in haunted attractions, and now it's become kind of a running joke. A Petrified Forest has done an alien thing. They did a whole alien trail. They announced it on the show. I about lost my mind. It was really cool. Yeah. You're hype people. Yeah, that's what we are. We're promoters. That's what we do. One of the biggest barriers of the haunted attraction industry is the fact that people don't know these things exist. I will admit, in the early years of haunt scene, I did make a very bad miscalculation about. I really want to get the people that are dedicated to doing Halloween Horror Nights to go do haunted attractions, like independent haunted attractions, and that was like one of my big focuses to try to peel things away from that. But I realized that that's a losing battle. It's pointless. People love HHN. We love HHN. People love Hollow Scream or SeaWorld or Busch Gardens. People love the theme park haunts, and there's no point in like fighting against that. But we have gotten or talked to or worked with haunts and other content creators to get them out to other haunted attractions to try to put a spotlight on them. So it's more like HHN will always exist. It will always have a huge fan base or whatever, and that's amazing. And we love Universal. And we love the creative people behind Universal. Some of them are our friends, our friends and creative. But but yeah, people just need to know the haunts are there. If you don't know a haunt exists, how can you give them their money or your money, right? So that's one of the main focuses that we do is we just want to create awareness, but we're a very small crew. And this is not to take anything away from like the bigger entities out there, like a Scurry Face or like a Scare Factor or whatever. These have reps and they have reviewers all over the country to do stuff, and that is awesome. But we're a very small crew. I mean, it's me, Melissa, Kira, Kristen, and Nicole, and every once in a while we may have somebody else kind of wander in or whatever. We've had a lot of people come and go in and out of haunt scene over the years, but like we're small, and it always breaks my heart because we usually post things like, here's where we're going this year. Here's where this year's road trip is. And somebody will be like, hey, come check out my haunt. I'm Jim's haunted toilet in Kansas. And I'm like, I would love to come and check out your haunt, but we kind of do little regions every year because the long-term goal is to do one haunt in every state. Yep. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with HHN. HHN's a juggernaut, man. This year looks amazing, and I can't wait to go. I'm going to go to the premium night, and we were invited to the media night. Oh, and I do want to back up a little bit because it actually brings us full circle here. One of my main goals at the beginning of Haunt Scene, because we were more HHN fans than Haunt fans, we kind of switched that over the first couple of years, or at least I did. My biggest goal originally was to get invited to the Halloween Hornets media event, and we've been going for 5 years now, 5, 6 years now. And it took a while, and it was heartbreaking every year to get that denial email, but eventually we cracked that code, and we were able to go. So thank you to Universal and the other haunts that invite us to any media event. We don't take this stuff for granted, and I appreciate it. Yeah, support the mom and pop places. And that's the thing, is like some haunts, man, they come and go, or maybe they don't get enough support, and then they don't get a chance to stay open, and that's a shame, right? Cool. All right, so what else we got here? I'll kind of go back and forth between questions in the retrospective here. I'm just trying to give myself some things to think here. So let's look at 2017. Anything pop out at here? Haunt Scene 2017. All right, so got we thanks killing the musical. So eventually we started to kind of wander to do other things. Like we were looking for ways to do things in the off season because we were strictly seasonal when we first started. Like we only existed while the season was going. So like August, September, and October, maybe a little bit of November there, and then we were like hibernating the rest of the year. But we eventually started to kind of find connections and find spooky things in the off season to do that. Now, I wish we could do more of that stuff, but once again, we're all full time. We don't get paid to do haunt scene. This is a volunteer thing, so we all have full time jobs. Melissa has two jobs, but we have to kind of make this fit into our lives right here. So we started to kind of find things like the Things Killing the Musical, Orlando Fringe shows. All right, here it is. We'll be reviewing. We'll be reviewing. Yeah, we don't use that terminology anymore. Busch Gardens, love Busch Gardens. Just trying to share people's things like that. There we go. Yeah, Gregorio. That's another thing, and I will tell you, this is probably one of the really hard things about the haunt industry and our connection to it is we we get to meet so many people from so many different places, and I guess it's inevitable that some of these people pass on, and that's been hard. Because we have a connection, we make really good friendships and connections with these people, characters, and owners, and people involved in the haunt industry, and different things, and from a global perspective of everything we've done, we've lost we've lost a lot of people, especially in the last 5 years. And that's hard. It's hard because you make friends with these people, and you hug them, you drink with them, you laugh, you cry, you do all these things with them. You go to their birthday parties, you go to their New Year's Eve parties, you have these special connections, and then they're gone, you know? And that's hard. That's really hard. Ed Terabas, losing him from Erebus, within the last couple months, that's difficult because that's somebody that was a good friend of ours, and he was a smiling face. He was like the one of the constant smiling faces that you would always see at Trans World, and it's really hard to lose people. Um, I don't want to go super down that route, but it's just that part sucks. It's like, I guess it's inevitable. The larger you grow your family, the more people you're eventually gonna lose from that family. It's not fun. Kira's in here. Kira joined the show a little bit later. Kira was, Kira we met at Vault, and Kira worked for a what was it? It was like a zombie shooter VR thing, Nomadic. And Kira was just like, I don't know what it was about Kira. Kira's cool. We met her. She's super duper cool. We ended up doing the VR experience, and then we were walking out of a haunt, and I'll never forget that night. We were walking out of the exit of a haunted attraction, one of the haunts at Horror Nights, and Melissa and I were walking out, and she was walking in to the queue, and then we just ended up like hanging out that night, and it was I was Kira's an amazing photographer and content creator. And Yeah, that was a big kind of change in the show. I mean, we've had a lot of people come and go, but I think the core part of this, and this is no offense to Kristen or Nicole, but like the core team has been Melissa and I and Kira as well. So I can't do this stuff without them. I mean, honestly, Melissa and Kira are sometimes the ones that are carrying the show when I'm out of energy or burned out or whatever, right? Yep. She bought an express pass. Yeah. And we do get a lot of like because we'll meet people we've never met before, and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool that you get to do that." No, we pay for all this stuff. I mean, even if we do get invited out to a haunted attraction, or if we make a connection with them and they invite us out or whatever, we still have to fly to get there or drive to get there. It's not a job. It feels like a job, but it can get a little expensive, which is why we are really appreciative of the sponsors that we have, because without the sponsors, we would still go, but it would be a lot harder financially on all of us to do that. And just a little peek behind the curtain about that, because I'm just gonna squirrel all over the places. We don't take a profit from HauntScene. 100% of everything that ever has been donated through Patreon or donated straight up or part of the sponsorship or whatever, we literally use that to pay our bills, our Zoom and our web hosting, and buy business cards and buttons and stickers and whatever. And then we use it to supplement our travel. So the way it works is, if we have a certain number of people going on a trip, we will supplement that with the sponsorship. So let's say that Melissa and I go to Transworld. Well, if that's two people, what we'll end up doing is we'll actually divide that by three ways, and we'll take a third of that out of the budget or the sponsorship right there. So we still pay a big chunk of our own monies to do these things. But the sponsorship stuff really, really helps when we want to travel. And one of the things we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is start to go out even further. We go to Transworld every year. We'll be there. We'll see you there. But we're starting to kind of rotate some of the other conventions in. Like, I know Midsummer Scream's going on. I'd love to be there. We want to go to East Coast Haunters Convention. We went to Texas Haunters Convention last year. That's where I got this Equal Frights for All shirt at Dark Hour. We've been to Midwest Haunters Convention. We've been to some of the other smaller conventions, HauntCon, Fear Expo, a couple things here and there. So yeah, we're not cashing checks. Yep. Yep. Friendship bracelets and buttons are not cheap. Met husband at HHN. Yeah, funny. Yeah. HHN's a good place to meet really cool people, because you at least have something in common, right? That is awesome. Very, very cool. All right, so let's switch back over here. We'll kind of go back. Let's see here. I am not the best photographer. Kira and Melissa they're the photographers. Some of these they're okay, but Melissa's really, really good at taking pictures here. Yeah. Then we used to watermark our photos because we were dumb. Yep, Melissa and I. Look at that, 2017. Wow. Look at that stuff. Yep, April 20. Yep. So she agreed to be on the show April 21st, but then she was part of that first season right there. Oh man, so yeah, back in September of 2017, this was kind of like, I mean, not to rehash this, but Omnis Ascent was really good friends of ours. They gave us a lot of access. We would go out to their haunted attraction that we're building in Bartow, and then it got destroyed by a Hurricane Irma, which sucked. And that was really devastating for everybody. They ended up opening up like a pop-up haunt over in Plant City. But that sucked, man, because I felt like, it was their haunt, but we felt like we were a little part of it, because we had that connection to them. So that was really, really hard, right there. We always go to like Spooky Empire, Undead or Alive. That was a house. Yep, pretty cool. So we don't watermark our photos anymore, or do any of that stuff here. We started our show later. We didn't do guests. I think we didn't do guests until like what, season 5, season 6. And then we actually had the off season. We would start the show up in like April or May, have a full season of guests and haunters and scaretors and people to talk to, and then we would do our normal haunt season coverage. We kind of cut that back a little bit because it ended up being a little unwieldy. But yeah, wow, September 5th. It's cool. Here's an old look at the show right there. This is where we had the show set up in my living room right here. So we had like a little section for that. Now I have a whole studio I built in my house that we use. Oh, Demented Dimensions was such a good house. Mortar Manor. That's kind of cool. Looking at these old things right there. That's neat. All right, let's go to 2018 here. All right. I'm gonna just keep going. Let's see. 2018. All right, what do we got here? September 19th, 2019 was Kira's first day on the job. All right. Oh my God. So this is me. My first year going to Trans World was in 2018. This is the big Halloween attractions expo trade show. It's not a convention, but you would go in, and this is kind of where the full weight of the haunted attraction industry started to kind of like get into my brain. Like, just going to haunts, you go, you enjoy, they're amazing, you have a lot of fun, but the amount of industry that is behind any haunted attraction is just insane. And when I went, I was nobody. I mean, I'm not saying I'm like amazing now or anything like that, but when we first went to Trans World, I was like, I'm gonna wear my black HauntScene shirt. We're gonna meet people. And just seeing all the animatronics and costumes and masks and every aspect of the haunt industry, from props to fake blood to makeup to contact lenses to everything you could imagine. My first walkthrough of that was extremely overwhelming. Like, the gravity of what goes into the haunted attraction industry kind of finally set in that day. That was cool. So I did a little video of that. It was really, really overwhelming. It still is overwhelming. We tried to do some like pop culture stuff over the years. Didn't really work out that great. We got our first like real intro here. Thank you to Oscar for helping us. I remember going out to Oscar's neck of the woods on the east coast of Florida, and he spent a couple hours with me filming stuff. I still have that map on the wall right here. I did like a little string map of where all the haunts were. It's way out of date right now, but it's a piece of HauntScene history. So that button, that map right there, I'm actually curious here. I don't know. So just like, I was so happy with like this initial intro. So good. All right, I'm not gonna play the volume because I don't know if we have copyright for that. You can still see some of the DNA for the intro still kind of incorporated into our current intro, but Oscar did such a good job of that. That was cool. Wow. Yeah, and OD I'm Assistant gave us a lot of footage to use for that, so that was really, really cool to incorporate that. So some of these little bits and bobs are still part of the intro. We've gotten and cut things, but this is where I started to feel like we're legit, right? That's cool. 2018. This was 7 years ago. Yeah, we set a dollar store scarecrow on fire. That thing went up in like 2 seconds. Yeah, that was cool. Wow, what a change. All right. Move that over a little bit. Let me lock that. Pretty cool. All right. See, this is kind of cool. I mean, there's some stuff that I probably thought. Here's the backdrop. I still have this backdrop. I had these weird ideas of like, here's what could make us legit. And I bought a step and repeat banner So we actually had our this was our backdrop on the show. We were on like a Logitech C920, a truly crappy webcam, and I didn't know anything about audio or video or whatever. But now it's a lot better. It's a lot better. But that's really cool. Got good at doing flyers, kind of experimented with that, and then just trying to share things out. Oh, and there was our first road trip in 2018. So we went from Florida, and this was a big deal for us to get out of state. And Melissa and I went and did the things. So we went from Netherworld. We went from Orlando to Netherworld. I basically was like, what are the big box haunts that are out there, the haunted attractions that are out there that everybody's talking about, right? And Erebus. I knew I had to do Erebus because like that was from my hometown. So Netherworld's like the Disney World of haunts. We drove up. We did the Dent Schoolhouse. We met Maximus, Christian Bryant, Pumpkin Smasher, who's also my clone and stunt double, and one of my best friends in the haunt industry. We love him to death. 13th floor. Actually, we did Haunted Hoochie. That was like the Haunters haunt. That was the one that everybody was talking about in Pataskala, Ohio. But that was like the haunt that all the haunters wanted to that they said it was amazing, and I wanted to fit in, so I went there. We went up to Michigan. We did Erebus. Erebus about blew our damn minds because it was so long. Hush. We ended up doing Hush while we were in Michigan. We met a couple of folks there. That was a really cool local haunt. While we were actually waiting for Haunted Hoochie, and this was kind of cool because this is where we kind of started to make connections there. We posted that, hey, we're waiting for Haunted Hoochie, or we're doing this tonight. And somebody said, hey, there's a 13th floor there, which I don't know if it's a 13th floor currently. It used to be Scaratorium, then it was 13th floor. Now I think it's called Fear Columbus. So things do change in a while. But this was a big deal to drive all the way from here to Michigan and back. And I think we did the Dent Schoolhouse on the way home. And I'll never forget because Melissa was the driver. She did most of the driving. And like, I was like, all right, well, we're going to stay in a hotel halfway home. She's like, no, 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 no. She's like, what if we just drove straight home? She literally drove all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, almost straight through to Orlando, Florida. This was our first road trip. I about passed out afterwards, and she literally went to like Halloween Horror Nights the night afterwards, and I was about dead. So yeah, that's awesome. Out of all the haunts you've been to, any real haunted insane asylum or hospital? Oh yeah, we've been to Eloise Asylum, which is an amazing haunt, and that's in Michigan. We've been to Penhurst. We've been to a couple things. Yeah, we've been to where's the one we just went to? Last year, drawing a blank, but it was amazing. I'll think of it later. Let's see, Trans Allegheny. Thank you so much. It was eerie, and it was a super duper long haunt, and they were super cool people. We had a lot of fun on that one right there. Fractured, that was what the theme was called right there. Pretty neat. Love doing fun clips here. This is like our this is probably our most viewed YouTube video, was our Warehouse 31 Unleashed. There used to be another haunted attraction in Jacksonville called Warehouse 31. We also made some pretty cool friends there, but unfortunately they were only open for like a year or so after we finally got out there. 13th floor Jacksonville opened up. So we still go out to 13th floor Jacksonville. We love Mary. We love everybody we've ever met there. We've met a lot of really cool people there. And then it's kind of a fun thing for us to do. We always go to Buc-ee's. We always do Whataburger. So having consistent things to do, because they also do off-season events, that's a lot of fun. This was actually a really, really good haunt. We have this was like our first full walkthrough video. Enigma haunt. Oh my God. So our first trip down to South Florida, we did like a little mini road trip, and we did Legends of Oblivion, Fort Pierce. Then we cut over to Boca Raton to do Enigma, and we were supposed to do Enigma and Fright Nights, and there was a storm that night, and so we had gotten a hold. I think it was Craig called me from he because they knew we were coming, and he let me know that they were going to be closed that night due to the storm. So I remember getting that call or text or whatever from Craig or Alex. I don't remember. I think pretty sure it was Craig. And they were closed that night. They wanted to give us a heads up. So the only haunt we were doing, and we were like 3 hours away from home, was Enigma haunt. And it was amazing. I mean, it was super duper cool. Now, a lot of folks that worked at Enigma are either at Fright Nights now, or they're doing Nightmare Village down there. So we met a lot of really, really cool people. But Enigma Sigma Die, man, we loved this haunted attraction, and this was heartbreaking when they closed. I mean, once again, I say these things are heartbreaking for us with the connections, but the people who run these things, it's really, really hard for them. But that was cool. And I remember actually, you know what? I got to give a shout out to Melissa because, you know, Melissa met them at a convention, and she came home with like these calendars or tickets or whatever, or these little promotional materials, and I was like, oh, South Florida. I'm like, well, I guess we could do that, and it ended up being like one of the highlights of that year. So we loved Enigma, and they were really, really cool. Love those folks. Really, really cool. Grabbing some pictures here. I could tell which pictures are me and which pictures are not me, because the pictures that are me are the ones that are not good. All right, very, very cool. Oh yeah. Oh, that's 2021. That was a really cool road trip. What a burger. Yeah, rip Enigma. Yep. Oh yeah, South Florida's amazing. Fright Nights, Nightmare Village. You can go to Horrorland. I know there's a couple. There was No Way Out. I don't know if No Way Out's open anymore. There was Paranoia. It's a blackout haunt, and a couple other haunted attractions that are down there. But yeah, that's yeah. South Florida's awesome. Definitely get out there. All right. Pretty cool. Let's head up to 2019 here. I'm just going to go through a little quick here. I'm probably going to talk forever. How long have I been going here? Oh my God. Have I been going for like an hour? All right. 9 years old. Then we started to do more like formal, like flyers and things, and started to kind of develop our branding, and things kind of started to kind of pick up a little bit. Met some really cool friends. Here's me building the studio version 5.0 in 2023. All right. Very, very cool here. Downtime. All right. Doing shows. Oh my God, some of these shows are so bad. Let's look at the show back in 2019. Uh-oh. So you can kind of start to see the DNA here. Now, this show, this is funny here because this, if you watch this right here, there's like a little animated background. And this season, this is where we learned about copyright. So we found like an animated flaming background, and I wanted some motion here, kind of like I've got these ghosts here in the background. And our shows, we would do our shows, and sometimes 10 minutes in, 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, our shows would just randomly cut off, and it wouldn't let new people join, and we could not figure it out. And then and apparently Facebook has like an algorithm that looks for things that's like copyrighted shows or graphics or sound. And so when we took that background away, we learned very, very quickly that was the culprit right there. So yeah. As a matter of fact, we just did a show with Zach the other day, and we played his trailer, and the trailer music, which we thought was not copyrighted, was copyrighted, and then Facebook shut us down. So that's always not fun when you do a show and things go wrong. Yeah. All right, moving on here. Let's just do, let me see, anything else? Oh, Eloise. Okay, so we're getting a little in the future. All right, so HauntScene 2020. All right, so this is like the pandemic year, and this was wild. I mean, this season was crazy. Horror Nights wasn't open. How Scream just had like walkthrough haunts. We had to get out of state to do different haunts. Every state had different rules about how to handle COVID. It was nuts, man. So it was cool. There's us wearing masks and stuff like that, right? Pretty neat. All right. 2 Halloween movies. Dark Horizon only went 1 year. Oh man, so that was kind of cool. This was the year, was it this year or the year after that we did what was the 1 year? Did we do okay, so 2021 was when we did the trip out there. Okay. So 2021, 2022, we did like a eastern part of the United States, east central US. Then we ended up doing this trip here in 2021. This was an amazing trip. Once again, see the thing about Netherworld, and you'll see a lot of things. You'll see a lot of our trips include Netherworld because if you're in Georgia, you got to go to Netherworld, and we would go to Netherworld first because it was like a good stopping point to stay in a hotel or whatever, and then you would jump off to north or northwest or west or whatever from there. So we ended up doing Atrox. That was awesome. We ended up doing a lot of really cool haunts. Rise had an amazing asylum haunted experience. Their houses were awesome. That was one of the highlights of that year. 13th Gate was just like haunt porn. It was just so good. So good. New Orleans Nightmare was really, really good. And then Terror on the Coast was really cool. That's like a movie prop warehouse they turned into a haunt. Really, really nice folks here. This was a great trip. This was a really cool trip. We just did a big circle here. And I think it was about this time I was like, you know what? I want to do one haunt in every state. And after we had conquered like getting invited to the Halloween Hornets media event, really at this point, it was about getting into doing one haunt in every state. And we're trucking along. We're doing about 3 or 4 new states every single year there. Yep. Yeah, that one was that this year was a little wild. All right. Pretty cool. All right. I remember doing a little partnership we have, Scurry Face, Haunted Honeymooners, which is not a thing anymore. And then us, we did a little cross promotion at that. We're still kind of like, we're friends, but you can kind of see the show evolve over time. And, I am not the best person graphically or whatever, but yeah, it did get better incrementally every single year. So that's kind of cool. This is when we moved into the studio here. You can see a lot of neon. I'm obsessed with neon here. Going out to Kirby Family Farm. Here's Gregorio again. And then at this point, I think it's 2021. One of the things that I had Melissa do when she first joined the show was watch the House's October build. And the entity in the House's October build, the bad guy, I guess, is called the Blue Skeleton. Bad guy, good guy, I don't know. But we became kind of obsessed with the movie. And so we ended up buying the same masks that they had in the movie, and we started tagging them in things, and they actually became friends with like Zach and Bobby and some of the folks with the House's October build. So, and they've actually given us a shout out on some of the podcasts and stuff that we do. So we feel like, if they're not going to make any more House's October build movies, we're kind of still carrying the torch for that kind of thing right there. But that was really, really cool. So if you ever see us and we're in like our blue skeleton things, that's what that's a tribute to. That's going to be the House's October build, which if you have not seen it, it's amazing. Do it. Pretty cool there. Great pictures. Showing haunt preview month. Oh my God. This is where we started doing like 2 shows a week, which we don't do this through the whole haunt season anymore. But we got a little busy there. So you can see how our schedule gets a little crazy. Tyler making the scissor reels. All right, making content. Every once in a while sharing some stuff there. Pretty cool. Yeah. Hornets 30. All right, so getting there, moving forward a little bit. I'm sure I'm missing stuff here, but this is actually pretty fun. Okay, so Trans World, going to Trans World here. Awesome, love that. Doing recaps. I think this was probably like our earliest. I mean, this was like a March show. That's nuts, right? Giving tips. This is where we got the scare cams. We have the full-on scare cam rig. So I wanted to start, and I spent my own money on this stuff, but I ended up buying like the Snorri cam from Glide Gear. That's our infamous scare cam that we have. But this is the wonderful ladies of HauntScene doing things. Here's Shelby. We miss Shelby a lot. I was Shelby. Shelby was with us this particular year. But I mean, I really wish Shelby would come back. She was awesome. We love you, Shelby. All right. All the things here, doing things. Blumhouse, doing some stuff. Harlow's Haunt was filmed this year. We made a special appearance in that independent horror film. That was cool. All right, did a trip up. I mean, this 2022 trip was nuts. We did, I don't know if I have a picture here, but like we literally did a gazillion. We did 1 haunt the first night, 2 haunts the second night, 3 haunts the third night, 4 haunts the fourth night, 4 haunted attractions in one night. What were we thinking? And I was having a lot of sciatic nerve problems. I mean, I still have that, but like I was a mess this trip. I was about falling apart here. That's cool. All right, Petrified Forest on the show. No Way Out. Oh, here we go. Here's what it looks like. All right, man. So 2022, man. This was a blur. This was an absolute blur trip. Don't ever do more than like 200 attractions in a night. But the thing is like in Indiana, a lot of haunts are open super late and they're all really close together. So you think you can do it, but they all blend together. That I think one of my biggest regrets here is I think we did too much because after we were done with this trip, it was difficult to remember which haunt was which. Yeah. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing. Yep. Yeah, we miss Shelby. Shelby Miller, wherever you are in the world, come back to us. Do the things. We need you. Man, doing the shows. 47. Oh my God. We going crazy here. Yep. It's me doing Eloise in Michigan. Eloise was like a urban myth when I was growing up. I grew up about 20 minutes from where this is. So doing a haunted attraction and Eloise Asylum was really, really interesting. Really good haunt. Really, really good. Definitely check that out. There it is. There's the blue skeleton photo. So it's where we would start doing those things. There's Shelby again. That's at the Extreme Action Park. Yep, grabbing some shots here. Man, 9,000 followers. Wow. That's so cool. Yep. I think this shot ended up in like their movie art here. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, so we got a lot of shots. Oh my God, this is I think when we started going to the Casadega haunt in Casadega. Here, yeah, that trip was nuts. Very, very cool. All right, so let's see here. Let's go to 2023. See. I'd start forgetting which haunts are here. Yep. Since I'm new here, catching up. Glad you're doing this live. Oh, it's like the recap. Oh yeah, believe me, I am missing big swaths of stuff. I'm just kind of looking things. Kira doing the TikToks and all the thing. This was a very, very cool piece of content that we created, kind of like a haunt recap thing. And a lot of our there's Kira with Eddie right there. Man, that's so cool. That was such a good season. What year was that? That was a couple years ago. Nightmare Dungeon's awesome. So one thing about Facebook is a little bit different now. With Facebook, you can go and watch, I think, all the old episodes through like 2023, 2024. One of the things that sucks about Facebook now is they only keep your live recordings for 30 days and then they delete them. So we've gotten in the habit over the last couple of years of taking the live shows and uploading them to YouTube. So unfortunately I can't commit to doing the live show on YouTube because you have to subscribe in order for people to see it. So I'm not a fan of that. Wow, look at how flat that looks. Wow, that's cool. So we do a haunt preview episode every year of what we're doing. We'll have that coming up here in a couple weeks to showcase what we're doing there. But that's us. That's cool. All right. Road trip recaps. That's always one of my favorite episodes is road tripping. The haunt preview episode and then the road trip recaps are awesome. Yeah. Meet the HauntScene team. So this was the team a couple of years ago. Casey, Sherry, Kira, Melissa, myself at this point. Love everybody. I only have a grudge against one former member of HauntScene, but because they used our name to steal tickets from a haunt, which is what actually it was the catalyst for us going to that haunt. Not going to get into that again, but yeah, it's not the right fit for everybody. And I don't want to have my show hold other people back when they have their own vision for how things should be done and whatever. So, love everybody, still love Casey, still love everybody to death, but sometimes it's not meant to be. All right. Lots of stuff right there. Haunt preview. We got pretty cool into the haunt preview, or we got pretty deep into the haunt previews. I wish we could do a haunt preview episode for every haunted attraction in Florida at least. But we only have so much time, and I'm not doing 5 shows a week. So that's what we kind of roll everything into the haunt preview season episode. A couple of years ago, we were in the top. We actually number 2 on the Orlando Weekly Best Podcast list. I don't even think I actually like pushed for that anymore because I feel like that's where we capped out on that. But that was kind of cool to get recognized there, right? Meet the Crew. I'd like to do a Meet the Crew episode every year. Then we've been invited consistently to the Howl Screen Media events. They do a scare cam event. That's Melissa getting scared a couple of years ago. That was fun. Doing our road trip announcement. This was like a recap of the haunt. This is actually a really good episode. If you look up HauntScene Road Trip, you can see all the things that we've done through 2023. Pretty cool. All right. We love spooky stuff. So this wall right here, this is actually the inspiration for this. So the Dent Schoolhouse, they have like all these racks of jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins, and they're all lit up and stuff. And so I kind of was inspired by that one. So that's kind of cool right there. That's neat. All right. Looking. All kinds of guest stars. Love to have another content creators on the show. Tampa J, Chris the Girl, they're in Tennessee now. USS Nightmare was awesome. If you're doing the USS Nightmare in Kentucky, you can go right across the bridge to do Dent Schoolhouse. That's like a perfect 1-2 punch for haunted attractions. This haunt was wild. It was epic. They split us up. There were like mini games. It was chaos in a haunt. At least it used to be. It was awesome. Doing road trips. There's me at Erebus right there. That's cool. Erebus is so good. If you're ever near Pontiac, Michigan, definitely check out Erebus. It's kind of like you have to do it at least once. Okay, so the Haunted Hotel in Kentucky, this was like an extreme haunt. We didn't really read the fine print. They kicked our asses. They tied us up. They like bound our hands. This is kind of where we figured out that there is a limit to the type of experiences that we're into. Not to take anything away from this haunt, because it was awesome, but it was a lot. And so good job there. Man, warm up episodes. We started going to like MegaCon and Spooky Empire and Scaradise, Spookala. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah. So here's where I think in 2023, this was like my last all out, go for 8 months straight and go crazy. At this point, I realized that maybe too much is too much. And because every year gets more difficult in some ways, but easier in other ways, So 2023 was kind of like my first super duper burnout year, just because I think I did way too much stuff. So I started to kind of rein it in a little bit, do less shows, but more high quality guests, try to think about logistical things about driving and things like that, so we're not all burned out and stuff like that. I mean, I still get tired and burned out, but yeah. So we started to kind of figure some stuff out. I think we're in a really good rhythm now for doing haunts. That's cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. Oh man, I miss Fiends. I wish Fiends was back at Busch Gardens. I actually really liked their show last year, The Reckoning. But yeah, Fiends was amazing. What do we got in here? Traumatized. Yeah. Touch haunts are not our thing. I mean, incidental touch and whatever, but full on whatever. And I feel, and I don't know if this is true, but I kind of feel like, and this is not to take any, that haunt was cool. They're great. I kind of feel like because we were a media team, we got a little extra. We didn't need the extra. We needed just the normal show. So, I mean, we wear our HauntScene gear. We want people, we want to be seen. We want to see people. We want to do all the things, but sometimes that makes it worse or better. I don't know. Right. That's awesome. Woods of Terror. So we've been to Woods of Terror, I think, pretty regularly for like the last couple years. We obviously met Eddie McLaurin's a friend of ours. We go to their sponsor of ours. We go to their media event. We see Eddie. We see all the Chris and everybody that we love from Woods of Terror all over the place there. But we love Woods of Terror. I can't wait. We'll be there next. We will be there 1 week from today. We'll be in North Carolina doing the things. So really excited about that. There was another trip. Got 47 haunted attractions. I personally stepped inside of 47 haunted attractions, 47 different locations that year. That was nuts. So, that's another thing I want to talk about. So, if you ever talk to somebody who's done a lot of haunts, some people think like every house is a separate haunt. I've done hundreds of haunts. I'll hear this from people. They went to one location and there were 3 trails, so that counts as 3 haunts. Bullshit. I went to this house and it had 6 different attractions. That's 6 haunts. Bullshit. 1 haunt, 1 location, right? If I don't care if there's 10 haunts at Horror Nights or 1 haunt at a home haunt, 1 location equals 1 haunt. If you are saying anything other than that, you are pumping your numbers, right? Don't do that. All right, what we got here? Yeah, this is a lot of memories here. This is 10 years of my life and my team's life here as well. Scream Machine in Michigan. 13th Hour was really cool. That was a really cool haunt right there. All right. Going up to 13th floor. We usually do 13th floor 2 or 3 times a year. They've got off-season events, doing a bunch of things. Let's go to last year here. It's kind of cool. All right. Got nominated again. We didn't quite crack the top, whatever, but we got nominated at least that year. This is where we started to get some sponsors. That was kind of cool. Friday Nights with Terror. I love having these connections with the haunts. They believe in us, and we love having that support. That really helps. Shots of the Tribute Store Horror Nights. This was our first foray out into the Texas Horrors Convention. This was in July of last year. Did Dark Hour, had In-N-Out Burger, good times. All right. Very, very cool. By the way, this I want to rewind this here because I want to give you a little tidbit here. So there, if you look in, this has always been part of our intro and outro, the In Spite of Productions. So this is actually like kind of a twofold thing. I'll give you a little peek behind the curtain here. Why does it say that? Well, before we did HauntScene, I did like a pop culture fun show with somebody else, and they're the person who knew everything and whatever, and it ended up being a nightmare. I ended up quitting, whatever. I was like, I'll do my own show, right? And then after the first season of HauntScene, when my original co-host quit, and just sometimes I want this show to be successful out of spite. Like I don't wish anybody any ill will, but like that was a motivating factor. I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. So that is why it says that. It is in spite of the people who get in our way. We will persevere and put a spotlight on the haunted attraction industry and haunt adjacent stuff there. That's why it says that. Let's see. Don't forget the Pet Boys haunt. Have I been to the Pet Boys haunt? Yeah. Awesome. All right. So, and then last year, this is kind of where we started to do like full on vlogs. Like we've kind of dipped our toes in like vlogs before. I'm not a really good vlogger, but we did get Sally. We got our Osmo Pocket 3. Hold on. I'm going to show that off. So this was a game changer for me. Is this device is the Osmo Pocket 3. So when I went to the Halloween Horror Nights media event last year, I still had like a DSLR or like a digital camera, and it was horrible, and the footage was horrible, and I'm a horrible vlogger. So I ended up not using any of it. But this thing right here, like everybody and their mom had this at the media event here, and I named her Sally. And Sally here is one of the reasons why we're able to do vlogs and they don't look like crap. So this was a big game changer for me personally as a content creator, was this camera, because I mean it's really, really easy to use. And I think last year we ended up doing like 20 vlogs last year or something like that. Like we vlogged a big chunk of the things that we did. As a matter of fact, we still have some footage we still haven't edited yet. We still owe a couple haunts vlogs out there. But we started to put out these really cool like intros and these really cool thumbnails and stuff like that. And basically, I learned how to use Canva. And that was really, really cool to kind of showcase those haunts a little better. And our viewership went up a little bit. So, you put quality stuff out there and people will watch it. So that was kind of neat. So that was cool. Another thing that was really helpful is because I was not the main driver last year on the road trip. I literally had like a battery pack, like one of those Jackery, like huge things. And I was in the back seat, like editing the video as we were on the road. And that was really, really cool. My dream would be to have a driver or an RV or something like that where we could create content on the road. That'd be really, really cool. All right. Oh, yeah, Pep Boys Van. We love Sally. Yeah, Sally's a big change. That's the thing. And I've gone through in the history of HauntScene, I've gone through like 20 cameras and like 10, 20 different lights and whatever. I mean, we're good now. We're kind of at the point where like I from a technological standpoint, I can't really dump any more money into this thing because we have like I'm talking on a Shure SM7B right now. This is like one of the best microphones you can get. So I invested my own money into doing this. Remember, the whole point of HauntScene is I don't care about how good I look. I mean, well, let me walk that back. I feel like my personal view on podcasting and doing this show is I want it to look good because I want whoever's watching it to know that we're putting the spotlight on our guests, right? If we look good, if the show looks good, it's going to make them better. And remember, the whole point of HauntScene is not to put the spotlight on us, it's to put the spotlight on them. Now, one of the mistakes I made in the first couple of years was I was like, we don't really need to be on camera. We just want to showcase whatever. But what I've found is people do like us. And when you make a connection with us as human beings, me or Melissa or Kira or whoever, that tends to get you involved in the show. You want to be a fan and then we appreciate that because if you watch that, you might end up going to some of these haunts that are out there, right? Pemberton, going to have them on the show on Tuesday. Really excited about that. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go out there tomorrow, grab some pictures right there. There we go. Here's me and my recap right there. Still got 23 states to do. Very, very cool. That's awesome. Man, we've done so much stuff. We have done more haunted attractions in our span than 99.99999% of people will ever do in their entire lives. And it's been awesome. And it's been really, really cool. Rick right there. Rick is the only person we don't censor on our show. So Rick wasn't on the show this year, but usually when he is on the show, and I think he only does our show now when he can, but he's the only person that doesn't get a talk to about excessive language. So you can see kind of our vlogs got a little bit better, our thumbnails. By the way, at Woods of Terror, this is kind of where we found out that Kira is a rock star with photography. She's bangers after bangers. It's pretty awesome. Howl Scream, pretty cool right there. And that kind of brings us up till now. Now, obviously, I missed a bunch of stuff in there, but really, that's what we've been up to. So yeah, so kind of a retrospective right there. Yeah, it's my favorite thing too. I mean, it is extremely stressful, but it's rewarding. There are nights that I feel like I'm going to die, and then there are nights where I feel like I'm on top of the world. Like it's really, really cool, man. And this is why we are recruiting another content creator. So if you know anybody that is a full-time content creator and knows how short form TikToks and stuff works, or somebody that's more of like the merchandise and all that stuff, I need somebody that kind of knows all this stuff, because I feel like that outreach part, that marketing part, that short form entertainment part, that is our next step to kind of blow up a little bit. But I think the infrastructure for what we do with HauntScene it's there. In the next, however long I do this, because I'm 3 years old, However long I do this, I do want it to continue. I want people to take it over. I'm not going to be able to do this forever, but I want it to live. And I need an exit strategy, somebody to take over HauntScene at some point. So we'll see right there. All right, so let's do this real quick here before we wrap this thing up. Thank you all for watching, whether you're watching the live show or watching the replay here. What do I see for the future? I see that we're going to keep going. We're going to do one haunt in every state. That's my personal goal. I never want to lose that personal connection. Now, could I have 1,000 people on my staff and be bigger? Yeah. Could I post 1,000 times a day and just throw whatever at the wall and have it see what sticks? Yeah, I could do that. But I want the things that we do to have a certain impact in the industry, right? I want the fact that we only do a certain number of haunts a year. I want that to be special. I want haunted attractions to get to the point of where they're literally tripping over themselves or fighting to have us out there. And we would love that, because then we could showcase them even more out there. So that's really it. Yep. Which pumpkin behind me is my favorite? I know which one it is. It is this guy. Because we were on a trip. I think Melissa and I were in Chicago, and this poor guy was like stuck behind like the Halloween clearance, and we just had to save him. So here's like my favorite one here. A couple other favorites here. Let's see. Yeah, I love this mummy one. Katie got me this one right here. I love these Studio 1031 ones here. These are all awesome. I love this guy. I love them all, but this is probably my favorite right there because we saved him. Yeah. Let me see. I think that's enough, right? Like, we're doing the things. Melissa sent me a bunch of questions. What made me want to start HauntScene? Like I said, we're Horror Nights fans, and we kind of got into doing haunts. How many locations have we visited as a team? So if any of the HauntScene team steps foot into a haunted attraction, I consider that coverage. We collectively have been to 137 haunts in the US, which is pretty cool. Coolest thing we've got to do. Everything's cool. Favorite piece of equipment, Sally, obviously. Funniest memory. The train thing was fun. We have a lot of like inside jokes and things like that, like Juani Banto and I'm in the sky. I mean, these are funny things yet. Favorite haunt. Okay, favorite HHN and favorite HOS house. These are easy. Halloween Horror Nights house. My favorite house of all time is Nightingales at Halloween Horror Nights 2021. It was like a World War I trench-based warfare house with evil banshees. It was amazing. My favorite Hollow Scream house was at Unearthed. Unearthed. I don't remember the exact year, but it was my favorite house of anywhere that year. That was really, really cool. New fear. I think that doing haunted attractions has really kind of ramped up my fear of dolls and puppets. So that's not fun. For the HauntScene movies, which people would I cast for our team? Oh man, I have to think about that one. Yeah. Favorite moment, HauntScene history out of all 10 years. There was a night, and it wasn't last year, I think it was the year before, where Fright Night South Florida Fairgrounds was doing like their wrap-up speech. And I grabbed the mic and I had like a little thing for them. And I said something that really resonated with me, that when we go to Fright Nights, usually it's like at the halfway point in our season, and it's literally what gets me over the hump. And everybody was like cheering and stuff like that. And that was cool. That was where I felt loved. That was cool. What haunt scared me? The train thing. Yep. Best haunt snack. Oh man. That's I don't know. I don't know about that one. Biggest wish for the future HauntScene. So with sponsors and stuff like that, I never want HauntScene to be my job. I have an awesome full-time job. I love what I do. I feel like if I did HauntScene full-time, it would kind of compromise my view on haunts and the haunted attraction industry. But that being said, if I could get HauntScene to pay for itself, at least cover our costs, that would be ideal right there. Yes. How many times we need to? How many times do I scream louder than Mel? Probably every night. One thing about haunted attractions is we still get scared. They still get us. Yep. How many times have I walked into a puppet and a haunt? Yeah, more than once. Scary. Those big gore galore puppet things, I'm notorious for walking into them. I don't know why. Sometimes I just take a wrong turn. Been taken by a swamp creature. Who gets Oogie and why is it Mel? It's Mel because Mel owns 5% of Oogie. And if anything ever happens to me, Mel gets Oogie. Yeah, that is it. Awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you all for tuning in today. That is a retrospective. That is a surface level. Make sure you guys following us on social media. Follow us on all of the things. That's me just kind of talking for an hour and 30 minutes about stuff. Now, inevitably, I left something out or I messed up a detail or whatever, and I apologize for that. Nothing we ever do is malicious. I wish I could do every haunt every year. I'll leave the stream with this. One of the hardest things for me is when we go to a haunt and it's amazing, and we're usually talking to the owner or whatever manager afterwards. And like, yeah, wait till you guys come back next year. And I'm like, oh no, we unfortunately, with the way it works for us, we do regions every year. And sometimes those regions do overlap and let us revisit a couple haunts. But a lot of times we're not going to get back to that location for at least a couple years. And now after this year, because we're planning on going back up to the Northeast, we'll have most of everything east of the Mississippi done. And everything on the West Coast is a lot bigger, a lot more spread out. So we'll have to kind of figure that out as we go. But thank you all for tuning in. I do appreciate that. You're all amazing. And I hope that everybody has a great spooky season, a safe spooky season. Please take care of yourselves. And hopefully we will see you out at a haunt. And just remember, there are haunted attractions out there you've never heard of. Go find them. Okay. And hopefully we can help you with that. All right. That's it. So let's go ahead and just give some love real quick once again to our sponsors. Thank you, Fright Nights. We love you. Woods of Terror. Can't wait to go there next week. Dr. Grimm's Haunted Trail. Haunt shirts. Haunt shirts. Jesus. HalloweenShirtCompany.com. We love you. Use promo code HauntScene for 15% off. If you've noticed, every episode except this one will wear the Halloween Shirt Company shirts. Thank you to everybody that sponsors us. Appreciate that. Just because this is a normal stream, I guess I'll just give everybody some love. We do appreciate the people that do follow us on Patreon. Some of these folks have been following us and supporting us for years on Patreon. And once again, 100% of everything we ever get goes right back into the show. Make sure you follow HauntScene on everything. And we're HauntScene. And if you want to support us, if you want to be a sponsor and get your name in lights every single show, please reach out to us and we'll talk about it. All right. Just remember, next show we're going to have on Monday, a very special Monday show. We're going to have Eddie McLaurin on from Woods of Terror. We're going to talk about the media night. We'll talk about the upcoming season for Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. All right. All right, folks. Well, that's a lot of me talking. So I do appreciate everybody doing the things here. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so I can do this. There we go. All right. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate everybody. We would be nobody without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Whether you're watching your 100th show or 1,000th show or first show, we do appreciate that. We appreciate all the haunted attractions that are out there that believe in us. And we believe in you. So till next time, spook easy, happy haunting. And we'll see you on the 15th anniversary or 20th anniversary. We'll see. All right, bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Give me some treats.